You're listening to Sister Stargazers, celestial and terrestrial observations and advice from two real-life sisters.
Welcome, fellow stargazers. Your sisters are in the house. Hi, Jude.
Hey there, Sarah. How's it going?
It's going great. Here we are, episode 103. So we're going to look at Sunday, August 27th through September 2nd. So let's just dive in. Where should we go?
Yeah, we've got on Sunday, the 27th of August, the moon is in Capricorn. And this is going to be significant because the moon will be ruled by Saturn.
Ooh.
And coincidentally, although there are no coincidences, right?
That's right.
Saturn will be at its closest approach to Earth.
Ooh.
And its face will be fully illuminated by the sun. It will be brighter than at any other time of the year.
Wow.
And it will be visible all night long.
Okay.
So this is an aspect where we have a lineup of Saturn, the Earth, and the sun.
Right.
It's a similar pattern to a full moon.
Yeah.
Where we have the moon, the Earth, and the sun.
Yeah.
But in this particular case, the moon is in Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is going to be at its fully illuminated state, its closest approach, it's in its opposition. So this is a lot of Saturn.
Yeah.
As we start the week.
Yeah.
The sun in Virgo is making an opposition to Saturn in Pisces.
Wow.
We're coming into this full moon phase where the moon is aligning with Saturn in Pisces. The sun is in Virgo. The sun is starting to line up with Saturn in Pisces. So there's a lot of Saturn. And this is about steady accomplishment. It's about one foot in front of the other. It's about timing. It's about taking your time.
Okay.
So there's a lot of patience involved with this week.
Okay.
So when you approach something and you're finding that there's an obstacle, you have to just keep plodding along.
Okay.
What else happens on Sunday the 27th? We're not even out of Sunday. Is that Mars, it was in Virgo. It was very happy, checking off its to-do list. It now enters Libra.
Okay.
Where it's all about diplomacy and tact and justice and a strong creative urge as well, because Libra is one of the cardinal signs.
Okay.
The thing to watch out for in Libra is indecision or a bit of complacency. So you're not sure which way to go. You want to balance out one thing with the other. On this hand, it could be this. On this other hand, it could be this. So you're constantly weighing things out, and Saturn will be propelling that process of weighing things out. So instead of the scale just being a little tipsy and going back and forth, with Mars and Saturn, it's you're feeling an urge to make these decisions, but you can also feel the fastness that you're being asked to make these decisions are causing you to be indecisive.
Yes.
So it's kind of a little bit of a catch-22 with Mars and Libra. But again, the sun in opposition with Saturn is asking us to be a little more methodical, patient, slowing down, making those decisions, really taking a thorough approach.
Okay.
Yeah. And because Saturn's in Pisces, it's also putting somewhat of a governor on our emotions. So whereas Pisces might be feeling all the feelings and, wanting to scope it out kind of in a way that's pulling it from the ethers, Saturn is you have to work with what you have. And if you don't have it, then you can't work with it.
Yeah.
So you can't be all imaginative and out there and thinking all this big out of the box stuff if you don't have the building blocks.
Yes. Yes.
So Saturn is helping us.
Okay.
Well, it's in Pisces. Also, what's coming up on Monday, the 28th, is Uranus is stationing retrograde in Taurus.
Okay.
So it's up at 22, 23 degrees Taurus, and it's going to start to move backwards. This will again illuminate or just give us a little more retrospective.
Nice.
This is a 7-year cycle of Uranus in Taurus. So, what do we really value? truth,
Yes.
honesty, love, integrity. These are all qualities that kind of roll up into Taurus because Taurus is ruled by Venus. So Uranus going back over this midsection of Taurus is going to ask us to reevaluate, to look at our values again. Do we really need all this stuff? How do we allocate our resources? So that's going to be up, and that's a long-term transit.
Okay.
The retrograde. So it starts in late August on the 28th.
Okay.
On the 29th, the moon is in Aquarius and it opposes Venus, which is retrograde in Leo. The moon will then square Jupiter, and then the moon quincunxes Mercury. And then it squares Uranus. So this is an unsettling day, the 29th. There's a lot I could say about this, but basically the moon in opposition to Venus is, again, making us really consider what is our true feelings. Is it good to remain detached from them? How can we work with them? That's squared to Jupiter. What do they mean to us? What do our values mean to us? Quincunxing Mercury, the moon quincunxes Mercury, that's going to be a little bit of a challenge to communicate. Tuesday the 29th, just take it easy. Don't get too wrapped up in your feelings because the moon is going to be really in a detached position in Aquarius. And then it's making all these aspects to the personal planets, which can really kind of pull up some emotion.
Okay.
But coming into the next day, we have this full moon in Pisces, which is a moon is opposing the sun, right?
Right.
That's a full moon. What we have added in, which we had at the top of the week, is this moon conjunct Saturn.
Yes. Okay.
So that's of just a full, couple of days. And this is why Saturn's going to rule this week.
Got it.
Because the full moon conjunct Saturn right in the middle of the week, with that top of the week moon in Capricorn ruled by Saturn, and then this whole thing of Saturn in opposition where it's fully bright in the sky and illuminated by the sun. So this will really highlight the kinds of issues, the kinds of decisions, the kinds of really kind of cold, hard facts that we need, irregardless of the moon being in Pisces and wanting to just kind of swim with the tide. There's going to be really some really hard truths that are going to be illuminated at the time of this full moon. It's at 7 degrees Pisces. The full moon occurs at 9:35 p.m. So we're really going to get us folks
Eastern
on the
time.
East Coast,
Eastern
time, are going to really get to see this fully illuminated moon with Saturn in conjunction.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And it's also a blue moon, which isn't really blue, but it's the second full moon in the calendar month.
Right.
Yeah. This is just something to be mindful of this. And there's some other aspects in this that we can talk about, which are actually playing out the next day.
Okay.
The moon gets really busy.
I was just kind of thinking what the Sabian symbol is then for the full moon with Saturn right there.
Yes. So here's the Sabian symbol, Pisces 8 degrees, a girl blowing a bugle.
Wow.
Yeah. The keynote is a call to participation in the service of the race as an evolutionary crisis approaches. Yes. Shall I go on?
Maybe a few more sentences because I'm intrigued.
Yeah, it's a little vague. It's kind of a call to action. The symbolic picture presents another aspect of the emotional relationship between the individual and the collectivity of human beings.
Okay.
So, yes, we have that Aquarian moon on Tuesday. That's very individualistic.
Yes.
And then as the moon comes into Pisces, we're looking at the collective.
Okay.
Let's just call it a call to action.
That's really interesting. I'd like to segue to the cards then, because I think it speaks directly to it. I reached for my Rider-Waite deck, and then I decided to pull from the Divine Feminine Oracle deck by Megan Watterson. The card that poked out was Brigid, which is usually a card of Imbolc, which is the cross-quarter day welcoming the spring. And I thought, really? But we're kind of in late summer. Why is Brigid here? So I took her out and set her aside, and I asked the deck, I was like, come on, just confirm for me that we need to be talking about Brigid. And the second card that came up is Saint Bridget. So I was like, okay, what does Bridget have to say? And they come one after the other in Megan Watterson's, little book that has some descriptions. So this has to do with light. Bridget is the goddess of the eternal flame. And the keynote that Megan Watterson has here is, I am an eternal flame, and each day my light grows brighter. And then Saint Bridget's little mantra is, Our Lady of Exalted Light. It says, I give endlessly because the light is without end. My soul is all I need. And the things that just sort of jumped out to me while you were talking about the Sabian symbol is it said that Bridget, she's a goddess of pre-Christian Ireland. It's said that Bridget is said to have created the whistle for calling out from one person to another while walking through the night, which lifts the wanderer with its levity and reminds her she's not alone. So when you said there's a woman calling a bugle, it's like, okay, and here's the call that you're not alone, like calling out to the collective, like come and join us. And then it also just speaks to that they're both Bridget and Saint Bridget, who's named for Bridget, but she came much later as a Christian saint, that they both have to do with things that are elevated, like poetry or journal writing or songwriting. So like expressing yourself through words or guiding your soul voice through the arts, through dancing, through music, through art. So like calling forth your soul voice purpose through artistic endeavor. So those are the cards. Bridget has something to say, even though we're not at the Imbolc cross-quarter day, but throwing that out there.
That is so beautiful. What an incredible synchronicity.
Yes, really.
Wow.
No coincidences, though, you said at the beginning of the...
No, I mean, this is, but that call to action,
Yes.
And that call, like calling
Yes.
out to the universe, for what you need.
Yep.
That might be, also, calling out to find your tribe, to find your group, to get the support.
The St. Bridget card also said that it could be a time for clearing, getting rid of the things that are in your way, or looking at what you have around you and reallocating them. And that's a little bit feels like Uranus and Taurus. Like, I don't need this anymore. I'm going to give it away. I'm going to clear. I'm going to reevaluate my resources. I'm going to make more space for the things I do want to come in, the things I do value to have space to come in.
That's so perfect as the week ends, because Venus goes direct.
Great.
On September 3rd.
Okay.
She comes out of shadow on October 7th. So she moves forward, but doesn't reach 28 degrees Leo until October 7th. So we have this
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And I'd say too, Bridget is about, there were a lot of references to light, carrying the light, clearing out the darkness. That could be, maybe it's Venus. Maybe it's Venus coming out of the dark.
Yes. I mean, it's a feminine archetype as well,
Yeah.
Like holding up a light, calling out.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is so beautiful.
Anything for the week you want to wrap up?
I would just say that, honor your Saturn.
Is it worth taking a look at where Saturn is in our natal chart?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I mean, it always is. And it, Saturn is one of those milestone planets. It governs the life basically as you mature. 7 years old, a human is pretty much formed as their thinking processes are gelled. Yeah. All the way up to about 6, 7, you're more like a sponge.
Yeah.
Like you're just putting stuff into the brain. And then, this is all not just me, but it's scientific.
Oh, yeah.
Early childhood development stuff. And then 7 years later, you're 14, you mature physically. Yep. 7 years later, you're 21, you're matured socially, right? You become an adult and can drive and drink and vote and all that stuff. And then 7 years after that, you're 28 years old and
you're
there's
approaching
like
30.
Another milestone
level of adulting.
You're adulting and you're more responsibility and yes. So this is all a Saturn cycle.
Yeah.
So it's always good to check in and find out where you are in your Saturn cycle. Yeah.
Fair enough. Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah, thank you. Listeners, please continue to send us your comments and your questions at connect@sisterstargazers.com. That's our email. You can visit our website, sisterstargazers.com. And Monday nights, we still are doing our deep dives on wmpg.org. You can stream it live on the internet or check the archives there, wmpg.org. And yeah, we really appreciate hearing from you. And thank you as we approach our third season. That's really exciting. So
Thank you,
Jude.
everybody. Yeah, thanks for listening. See you soon.
See you soon.
Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to Sister Stargazers. Let us know what worked for you this week. Find us on Facebook and post a comment at Sister Stargazers.